Nothing's more irritating than seeing playback error in Pro Tools, especially if it's in the middle of a recording session with an artist. I mean, is the problem the buffer size, some new plugin you're trying to add, or maybe even an old plugin that needs updating? Well, there's one feature that's gonna save you a ton of space, and guess what? You likely see it every time you look into Pro Tools. But do you really know how it works? Stay tuned until the end of this video, because what you learn here is gonna make you much better at recording and also mixing songs for your artist. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this feature. You ready? Let's get into it. The feature that I'm talking about is commit, and there's two ways to locate it. One is right here on the track. You just go ahead and right click and then you see commit. And then if you go here to the clip itself, right click it, then we're just gonna scroll down and we see commit here as well. So how does it work? Think of commit as similar to a quick bouncing option. It makes the main track inactive and also creates a new audio file with all the effects printed onto it. So let's go ahead and right click here on the track. Then we're gonna go down to commit right here. And let's take a look at some of the different options that we have here. So the first thing we see here is for commit, we have selected tracks or edit selection. Now, if we do selected tracks, this is gonna make one single cohesive file. This is more than likely what you're gonna be using if you do decide to use this option. And the other option that we have here is edit selection. So what this is gonna commit just what you highlight here. So let's say you have different vocals going on and you have little gaps and crossfades occurring. What you could do with edit selection is just going to commit that one single section. So let me show you what I mean here. Let me go ahead and do selected tracks and show you how that works. I'm just gonna go ahead and click OK. All right. Then now we can see here we have one single file. So we have the previous one up here, and then now down here we have the committed one. And we can see there's all the gaps, all the crossfades are all gone. So it's one single file. Okay, and if we want to do a commit for a selection, we're just going to go ahead and make a selection here. Let's just say I wanted to do these two parts of the vocals. I'm going to go right click. Of course, you can right click to get back to commit. Then we're going to scroll down, commit, and then we're going to leave edit selection as the default commit type. Then we're going to go ahead and hit OK. Then after it renders, you can see here just what I selected here is what's committed. And the edit selection option is really good, especially if you're fooling around with new plugins. You know, they're always creating new ones these days. And let's say you kind of run into a happy accident. You're doing some type of delay throw, or you're playing with some type of distortion effect and you really like what you're hearing. You could just go ahead and use commit to go ahead and print the effect directly on the vocal. Have it right here. You can get rid of the plugin. Maybe you're demoing the plugin, and sorry for all the plugin manufacturers. You could just have it printed right there, some type of cool effect, echo, delay right there. And then you could just go ahead and blend it back into the main audio. So that way, once again, you're not using up a bunch of resources. You have this cool effect and you don't have to do a lot of printing or thinking or anything like that. Just use this one option. It's going to save you time, resources, and hey, you may even have a new cool effect. Okay, right here back on the commit track menu, we can see we have the consolidate clips option. So how does that work? So as you can see here on this vocal track that I have here, I have some spaces. I did a little bit of edits and crossfades. So if we uncheck consolidate clips, that means that the clips aren't going to be consolidated. So Pro Tools is going to go ahead and print those effects onto the vocals, and I'm still going to have my spaces. So if I decide I want to add some crossfades or anything like that in the future, they're not all committed to one consolidated clip. I can still make the edits that I need to. So you can kind of look at it as you still having some type of flexibility on your audio. All right, and you can also see here on the commit tracks menu that we have consolidate clips. So if we uncheck consolidate clips, that means that if we go ahead and commit, let's just say I was going to commit this selection right here, what's going to happen is, since I have these edits and spaces and crossfades on this particular vocal, go ahead and commit tracks and actually print the effects. Right now I have an MV2 on there. What's going to happen is, instead of everything kind of getting glued together into one single audio file, I'm still going to continue to have the option and the flexibility to make any type of edits or crossfades that I need to here in Pro Tools, because Once again, it's not going to be all consolidated into one where all my blends and crossfades are all together. You're actually going to still have the flexibility. So, commit tracks, it sounds like everything is totally committed, but you're still going to, of course, have some flexibility, of course, if you decide not to consolidate everything into one single clip. Now, continuing on the commit tracks menu, we have the ability to render automation for the volume and mute, panning, copy source tracks, so we can copy the sends, we can copy the group assignments, elastic audio. And one thing that I really wanted to point out here to you guys that's actually really special about this feature is the ARA plugin assignment. So as you may know, as a Pro Tools user, or if you're new to Pro Tools, I'll give a quick explanation. We have something called ARA tools. More specifically, we have like RX by Isotope, which does correction of different types of distorted audio that's built in right here in Pro Tools. Let me go ahead and show you down here. So we have Melodyne, we have RX Spectral Editor, and if I go ahead and right click on the audio file, we go here to Melodyne, we go here to RX Spectral Editor. These are ARA effects that are built into Pro Tools right here. So it's kind of like a partnership with Pro Tools, with Avid, to have these plugins right here. Now that I've done that brief explanation of ARA plugins, let me get back to my main point. Now, my main point here is with the ARA plugin assignment, this is really special. So let me tell you why. So let's say you have multiple vocal takes going on and you're using Melodyne to pitch correct some of the vocals. So let's say you have comped vocals, multiple vocal takes that you have right here, and you've actually used Melodyne to pitch correct everything. You have everything exactly the way you want it to. So you have, a take from 10 minutes ago, a take from 30 minutes ago, a take from an hour ago, and you're really liking the way it sounds. And then also here in Melodyne, you've actually gone through the process of correcting the audio, correcting the pitch. You got everything exactly the way you want it to, everything pitch corrected, and you're like, one and done. I have multiple takes from this artist. I've comped them together. Everything sounds good, and I have Melodyne on it. So I'm all set. I'm all good to go. So with commit tracks, this is what's going to happen. So with commit tracks, if I actually have comped vocals and I select ARA plugin assignment, what's going to happen is Pro Tools is actually going to create a new audio file and place the Melodyne selections onto it. So for instance, let's just say hypothetically, this audio file I had here was comped, and this is actually multiple takes that I created, and I just have everything here put together, right? So if I go ahead and right click and go to commit and I do ARA plugin assignment, what's going to happen is Pro Tools is going to go ahead and bounce everything out, right? So it's going to go ahead and commit. But what's going to happen is as I go back here to Melodyne, Pro Tools actually, it doesn't bake in the Melodyne pitch correcting into the audio file itself. So you still have the flexibility. So what does that mean? That means if you have comped vocals and you have everything sounding good together on that one comped vocal, now you want to go ahead and commit tracks to go ahead and, let's just say, print some EQs, print AutoTune, print everything that you may want from the inserts. You can have that printed onto this new commit track, right? So keep following along. With that, I can have the Melodyne already selected, already pitch corrected. So that way I have one single file, while I still have the flexibility to continue to edit and make changes here in Melodyne. So it's not baked in. The pitch correction is not baked in. It's just the actual Melodyne information is taken from the source, the comp of the source. So let's just say in this scenario, we have a comp vocal. We're taking that, all that Melodyne information, and we're placing it on the new commit track that we can have here. So we can have that one cohesive file. And let's just say we wanted to hide and make the source file inactive, then we could just have this one pretty neat comped vocal. And then while we're listening back, if we decide we want to make some last minute changes here in Melodyne, we can go ahead and do that, make those changes, and we're all good to go. So you can save yourself processing power. You can have certain plugins printed onto the vocal, and that's really powerful, especially for producers and engineers who like to print AutoTune onto the vocal because you're doing a certain effect with it. if you want to print AutoTune onto the vocal and you like to use Melodyne to do some last minute tweaking, this is a great option. I really haven't seen too many people mention this, so go ahead and use this tip in your next mixing or recording project, and I promise you is one that you're not going to forget. All right, continuing on here on the commit tracks menu, we just have a couple of other options I wanted to point out here. So we have source track. So we have an option to, whenever we're committing the track, do we want to do nothing to the source track, just keep it there? Do we want to delete it? Do we want to make it inactive? And more than likely, in the majority of the scenarios, you guys are going to be doing make it inactive or hide and make inactive. Of course, it's a case-by-case scenario, but more than likely these are the two options that you're going to be using. Now, whenever we go down here to the bottom left, we see we have the offline option. So offline, that's just going to go ahead and render the audio for you, commit it for you. And then also, if you want to make it online where you can listen and hear what's actually being changed, this way you can actually hear what's actually being committed and aka quick rendered, like I like to call it, but call it commit by its textbook name. Then you could just go ahead and uncheck it so you can hear, once again, if you're doing some type of weird effect with the new plugin and you want to just make sure everything is right, sounding good and feeling good, all you got to do is uncheck offline, let it play, you're getting what you're hearing. So then, you're all good to go. And hey, maybe you can even choose the delete option in that scenario for the source track if you feel like you're really confident what the new track is going to sound like. As a special bonus for making it this far in this video, I want to give you my free Pro Tools guide. It's actually 27 useful shortcuts that you'll actually use in the studio. So these are shortcuts. It's not just fluff. These are shortcuts that are very useful. They include visuals. It includes a table of content that's actually clickable. So if you're in the middle of a session, you kind of forget something, you can kind of click on my table of contents and I'll give you a little image and also the shortcuts. You can be safe and assured that you won't ruin the session. So we've all been in those scenarios, especially when you're beginning. And of course, Pro Tools, the newer generation, at least some people feel like it's overly complex, but that's the point of my tutorials, is to actually simplify it. And I'm trying to make it as simple as making beats in FL Studio. So if I do make too many analogies, I apologize. I'm just trying to make things as crystal clear as possible so you can use this wonderful program and unleash the powerful benefits of it. Once again, my name is Desmond A, and I'm here to help you make better sounding music one video at a time. But wait, if you like this video, you're gonna love this next one. So why don't you go ahead and click on it and check it out.
That's my name.